What is up, everybody? We're here for another episode of Mike and Ant Sports Show. Once again, I'm riding solo. Mike is out, so just me by myself. Real quickly though, I'm going to make a quick video, just breaking down Week 11 of the NFL season. I apologize we were not able to do a video on our picks for this week. That's just because the schedule just all messed up for both of us, but we'll be back on track next week. But anyway, let's get started. We'll start actually time out. Before we get started, I do want to say RIP to Paul Tagliabue. He was the commissioner of my youth. I did not mention that last week, so I just want to say that. And now let's get started. We'll start things off with the Sunday night game. We have the Detroit Lions at the Philadelphia Eagles, and it's safe to say this was a defensive struggle. Neither offense really could get anything going, but the Eagles were able to get the win 16-9. They improved to 8-2. They sit at the top of the NFC right now as we speak. We'll break down the playoff seedings as we go along here. And the Lions, they dropped to 6-4, and they're now in third place in the NFC South. Excuse me, the NFC North. And here's the stats for this game. Jared Goff, 14 to 37, complete 14 to 37 passes for 255 yards, one touchdown, one interception. He did have five passes batted down. One of those batted passes led to that interception. And then rushing, Detroit, Jameer Gibbs was their leading rusher, 12 carries, 39 yards. David Montgomery only had six carries for 27 yards. And so I'm surprised with the game as close as it was. I'm surprised that the Lions did not run the ball more often, and I feel like they should have. Maybe they would have given themselves a better chance to win this game, especially with Jared Goff constantly being under pressure in this game. Also, too, Jameer Gibbs was the team's leading receiver as he had five catches for 107 yards. On the Eagles side of things, we had Jalen Hurts. He completed 14 of 28 passes for 135 yards. Not that great. Saquon was their leading rusher, 26 carries for 83 yards. AJ Brown was their leading receiver, seven catches, 49 yards. Six of those catches happened in the first half, and a lot of talk for him this week, as he's not been happy with the offense, not just this year but last year as well. But they fed him the ball, and like I said, this game basically came down to defense. The Eagles' defense just made a couple more plays than the Lions' defense. I did feel like Dan Campbell made some mistakes going for it on fourth down so much. They were 0 for 5 on fourth down in this game. I know some of those happened in the red zone, and I feel like if you just take the field goal, get points. I don't understand why these coaches keep going for it on fourth down in the red zone. Sometimes it's better just to get points. The biggest example I can give is Super Bowl 46 between the Patriots and the Giants. The Patriots at one point led that game 17-9. Excuse me. The Patriots led that game at one point 17-9. And what the Giants did was every time they just chipped away, chipped away, chipped away. And what Tom Coughlin did was okay, they get stopped inside the red area, kick a field goal. Now it's 17-12. Then what happens again? You kick another field goal. Now it's 17-15. And then the Giants are able to get the ball again and are able to score the game winning touchdown to win the Super Bowl. So my point is sometimes you could do that, just chip away, chip away, chip away. It wasn't like you were down by many points. So you're down 13-6. Okay. They stop you in the red zone, kick a field goal. Now it's 13-9. All right, they stop you again, kick a field goal. Now it's 13-12. And then now instead of, doing what they did, maybe things would be different. You know, it changes the whole. changes the whole dynamic of the game. And I feel like that Dan Campbell made a shot himself in the foot. I know this is what he does, but sometimes you just gotta take the easy points. And I feel like a lot of coaches they give points away by not kicking field goals. And sometimes it's just instead of always trying to go for the touchdown, just hit a single, kick a field goal, and just slowly chip away at that lead. And with the score being 13-12, who knows? You might have gave yourself a better chance to win this game. And so I feel like the Lions they blew it in that sense. But the story of this game is really the Eagles' defensive line. They just got on Jared Goff this whole entire game. Jared Goff never looked comfortable. There was a questionable pass interference call on a crucial third down to end the game. The refs called it on the Lions, called it on the called it on the Lions, and that gave the Eagles an automatic first down, and then they were able to just run out the clock after that. That's something that people are gonna be talking about tomorrow. But even if the Lions had gotten the ball back, the way that they were getting off that, the way the Eagles defense was getting off on the Lions offense and just harassing Jared Goff the whole entire game, I'm not so sure they would have scored a touchdown anyway to tie the game and possibly send it to overtime. So the Eagles get the win, 16-9. They improved to 8-2. Lions dropped to 6-4, and now the Lions they get ready now. They get the Giants next week, and the Eagles get the Cowboys next week. So roughly two easy games for both teams. The Lions will be at home against the Giants, and Philly will be at Dallas. All right, so let's take things down to we go to Spain, Madrid. The first regular season game to be played in Spain. We had the Miami Dolphins versus the Washington Commanders. The Dolphins won this game 16-13. Miami now improves to 4-7. Washington drops to 3-8. Washington drops to 3-8. And again, Marcus Mariota didn't play too bad. He was 20 of 30, 213 yards, one touchdown, one interception. Tua was okay as well. Completed 14 20 passes, 171 yards, no touchdowns, no interceptions. Chris Rodriguez led the Commanders in rushing with 15 carries, 79 yards. Devon Achan led the Dolphins in rushing with 21 carries, 120 yards. Debo had a nice game for Washington, 7 catches, 74 yards, and a touchdown, lead them in receiving. And then Devon Achan also led the Dolphins in receiving too with 5 catches, 45 yards. So this was a another defensive game. Offensively, neither team could really do much, but Miami was able to pull it off in overtime. I'm going to be 100% real with y'all. I fell asleep watching this game. I'm here on the West Coast, so the game started like at 6:30 in the morning. I watched the first half, fell asleep in the second half, and when I woke up, Miami was kicking the field goal to win the game. So you're not gonna get too much of a breakdown from me in this game, but the Dolphins did win. Unfortunately, we did send like two crappy teams out to Spain for them to watch, but the Dolphins get the win. They proved to 4-7. They have played better as of late. I do believe they've won like three out of the last four, if I'm not mistaken. So I guess you could say they're heading in the right direction. I don't know if this keeps Mike McDaniel's job or not. That they're playing well the last month or so, but they are playing better for what it's worth. For Washington, they got off to that 3-2 start, but they've now lost six straight games. I know injuries have a lot to do with it. This defense is bad. I mean, bad. And they played better today. Dan Campbell taking over play calling duties on defense. But Washington, they look like they're going to be going from NFC Championship game last year to potentially picking in the top five in the draft this year. All right, so next up we have the Cincinnati Bengals at the Pittsburgh Steelers. This is the game that cost me money. As the I thought the Bengals were able to cover the spread, but they didn't. Pittsburgh got to win this game 34-12. They improved to 6-4 as they hold on for dear life in that AFC North. Cincinnati drops to 3-7. Joe Burrow did return to practice this week, but if I don't know when he's coming back, but it's gonna be hard. Um, Cincinnati even compete in this division. They put themselves in a hole right now. They're 3 games back. Luckily though, they're only 2 games back of a wild card, so they can still get a wild card. But we'll talk about that later. Stats real quick. Joe Flacco had completed 23 of 40 passes for 199 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. Chase Brown, 18 carries, 99 yards, led him in rushing. T. Higgins led the team in receiving with 3 catches for 63 yards and a touchdown. On Pittsburgh side of the ball, Mason Rudolph led the team in passing. He completed 12 of 16 passes for 127 yards and a touchdown. Aaron Rodgers completed 9 of 15 for 116 yards and a touchdown. Jalen Warren led the team in rushing with 10 carries, 62 yards. And then Kennedy Gainwell led the team in receiving with 7 catches, 81 yards, and 2 touchdowns. So the story of this game is Aaron Rodgers left the game at halftime with a wrist injury. Aaron Rodgers says that he wanted to continue playing, but the Steelers decided to go with Mason Rudolph in the second half, and Mason Rudolph really didn't play that bad. But that's something to look out for to see how bad is that wrist, and if it's going to cost him any time. He is old. He will be turning 42 in a couple weeks. So he's at that age with his little nicks and knacks. Could be a little serious, but Pittsburgh got the win regardless. We'll see what happens with Aaron Rodgers. I do want to say too, Aaron Rodgers for the first time watching him, he looked old. And I mean like not old and like he's like washed, but just old and just he just looks old. Like seeing him with the uniform on, with the helmet, he just looks like somebody's dad out there trying to play a quarterback for the Pittsburgh Steelers. But that's that game. So now we'll move on to the next game. We got the Jacksonville Jaguars over against the Los Angeles Chargers. The Jags beat the Chargers 35-6. LA drops to 7-4 on the season. Jacksonville improves to 6-4. What a win for the Jags after blowing that game last week against Houston. And once again, the Chargers struggle. I don't know what it is about this team and 1 o'clock Eastern games, but they always struggle. Always. Um, but Justin Herbert, 10 to 18 passes for 81 yards, 1 interception. Trey Lance was even worse. He completed 3 of 18 for 37 yards. Justin Herbert also led the team in rushing with 3 carries for 21 yards. And Keenan Allen led the team in receiving with 4 catches, 53 yards. Trevor Lawrence completed 14 22 passes, 153 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. Bashal Tootin led the team in rushing with 15 carries for 74 yards and a touchdown. And Jacoby Myers, newly acquired Jacoby Myers, led the team receiving with 5 catches, 64 yards. The story of this game was just that Herbert had to leave the game with an injury. But this was just all Jacksonville from start to finish. They dominated this game, and the Chargers were never really in it. And so a huge win for the Jags as they're trying to hold on to that final wild card spot. All right, then we had the Buffalo Bills versus the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. This was an exciting game. Several lead changes, but Buffalo was able to pull away at the end. The score was not as the game was actually closer than what the score indicated. But Baker Mayfield played 16 and 28 passes, 173 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. Sean Tucker was the leading rusher for the Bucks, 19 carries, 160 yards, 2 touchdowns. Sterling Shepard, Emeka Ibuka led the team in receiving with 5 catches for 40 yards. On Buffalo's side of the ball, Josh Allen completed 1930, 317 yards passing, 3 touchdowns. Did have 2 interceptions though. James Cook led the team in rushing with 16 carries, 48 yards. And then Terrell Shavers led the team in receiving with 4 catches, 90 yards, and a touchdown. Josh Allen becomes only the second player, but scored 3 touchdowns passing, 3 touchdowns rushing, total of six. He ties himself, who did it last year, and then also too Autumn Graham did it back in the 1950s. So they're the only two quarterbacks to have 3 passing touchdowns and 3 rushing touchdowns in the same game. Buffalo got a huge win to improve to 7-3 to keep pace with New England and top that division. Tampa had a loss, and it's even worse because Carolina did win. I'll talk about that later. But they dropped to 6-4, and they're keeping Carolina alive in that division. And yeah, I said it earlier. Actually, I've been saying it most of the season, but Tampa Bay early on was winning a lot of close games, a lot of games that came down to the wire, a lot of games that came down to like the last second field goal, last second touchdown. And I questioned at the time, how sustainable is that going to be? And now they hit, a little bit of a skid. At one point in time, this team was 5-1. Since then, they've now lost 3 of their last 4 games, and they're just not as good as some of the top echelon teams. Look at the 3 teams they've lost during that stretch. They lost to Detroit, they lost to Buffalo, they lost to New England. All 3 teams are currently in the playoffs or in the mix. And those are the type of teams you're going to play in the playoffs. And I don't, and I just feel like they've let every team they played, even bad teams, just hang around, hang around, hang around. But it seems like when they play some of these better teams, they get slapped in the mouth a little bit. And right now, it doesn't look like Tampa Bay is at the same level as some of these better teams. But with that being said, we'll move on to the next game. This game actually ended up being a lot exciting than it really needed to be. But the Chicago Bears at 7 won the game night, beat the Minnesota Vikings 19-17. Chicago improves to 7-3 on the season. Minnesota drops to 6-4-6. Um, Chicago dominated this game really, and then in the fourth quarter, Minnesota made it interesting. They outscored the Bears 14-3 in the fourth quarter as they scored 14 straight points to take a 17-16 lead. But then the Bears were able to get a kickoff return and then a couple plays in field goal range, and they're able to win the game 19-17. Chicago almost blew this game away, but the Bears somehow found a way to win. They've now won 6 out of their last 7 games, and they sit on top of the NFC North. And I don't know, maybe the Bears are this year's Commanders. The Bears are another team. They're winning games by the skin of their ass, and they just keep finding a way to win. So I mean, a win is a win. And if I'm a Bears fan, I'll take it. But just like I said with the Bucks early in the season, the same thing applies now with the Bears. How sustainable is this? Now the Commanders had a similar situation last year. They rode that all the way to the NFC Championship game. We'll see how far the Bears go this year. Uh, to the stats though, Caleb Williams was okay. He completed 16 of 32 passes, 193 yards, no touchdowns, no interceptions. DeAndre Swift led the team in rushing with 21 carries for 90 yards. Cole Kmet led the team in receiving with 5 catches for 45 yards. JJ McCarthy, on the other hand, was okay as well. He had 16 of 32 passes, just like Caleb, for 150 yards. But he had 1 touchdown, but he did throw 2 interceptions. Caleb did not turn the ball over, while JJ McCarthy turned the ball over twice. That was the difference in the game. Also, Aaron Jones led the team in rushing with 16 carries for 70 yards, and Justin Jefferson led the team in receiving with 5 catches for 61 yards. And yeah, like I said, the difference in the game was you had one quarterback with no turnovers, the other quarterback with 2 turnovers. And that's why the Bears won, Vikings lost. Another game that was a lot closer than it needed to be, and that was the Houston Texans beating the Tennessee Titans 16-13. Houston proves to 5-5. Tennessee drops to 1-9. As they look like they're headed to their second consecutive uh, number one overall pick, as they might be the worst team in football. Cam Ward does not look good at all. And Houston did not look good at all in the first half, but they were able to get it together in the second half and win this game. Davis Mills completed 26 of 41 passes. He started his second straight game with CJ Stroud being hurt. He's actually 2-0 as a starter. So he played 26 of 41 passes, 274 yards, a touchdown, no interceptions. Woody Marks was the leading rusher with 18 carries, 44 yards. Diego Collins was Houston's leading receiver with 9 catches for 92 yards and a touchdown. Over on Tennessee side, Cam Ward completed 24 37 passes, 194 yards, 1 touchdown, no picks. Tony Pollard was the team's leading rusher, 10 carries for 22 yards, terrible. And I don't know if I'm saying his name right, but Ching Okongwu was the team's leading receiver with 3 catches, 56 yards. My takeaway from this game: Houston got lucky, and Tennessee is terrible. And then the game I mentioned earlier, Carolina beat Atlanta 30-27. Carolina cruised to 6-5 on the season. Atlanta's now dropped to 3-7. Atlanta's now lost 5 in a row after a 3-2 start. As for Carolina, this is a huge win for them. Not only do they get a divisional win over a divisional opponent, but now they're only a half a game behind Tampa for first place in the NFC South. So a huge win for them. Bryce Young had the best game of his career. Completed 31 of 45 passes for 448 yards, 3 touchdowns, no interceptions. Rico Dow was the leading rusher with 19 carries, 45 yards, and Toronto McMillan, can't say his first name. But he led the team to receive with 8 catches, 130 yards, 2 touchdowns, plus the touchdown to give him the lead there late in the fourth quarter. On the Atlanta side of the ball, Michael Penix completed 13 of 16 passes, 175 yards, no touchdowns, no interceptions. He did get knocked out of this game, and Atlanta's offense took a dip as they were only able to score 2 field goals once Kirk Cousins entered the game. And Kirk Cousins is not helping his trade stock at all, as he only completed 16 of 14 passes for 48 yards, no touchdowns, no interceptions. As it might be time for him to retire. Bijan Robinson led the team in rushing with 23 carries, 104 yards, 2 touchdowns. And Drake London led the team in receiving with 7 catches, 119 yards. Huge win for Carolina. Another disappointing loss for Atlanta. And I said this before. Um, Raheem Morris, I'm not sure if he's a good head coach. He was definitely a good coordinator, but so far he's not proven to be a good head coach. So I don't know. I don't know what Atlanta does. I don't know. They have way too much talent to be 3-7. So we'll see how that plays out. Then we have the Green Bay Packers at the New York Giants. Green Bay wins this game 27-20. They improved to 6-3-1. New York drops to 2-9. And Jordan Love completed 13 of 24 passes for 174 yards, 2 touchdowns, no picks. Malik Willis did come in. He completed 2 for 2, 6 yards, and 1 touchdown. Emmanuel Wilson had 11 carries for 40 yards, lead team in rushing, and a touchdown as well. Josh Jacobs left the game with a knee injury. Romeo Dobbs led the team in receiving with 4 catches, 53 yards. For the Giants, Winston had 19 29 passes for 201 yards, no touchdowns, 1 interception. Tyrone Tracy led the team in rushing with 19 carries, 88 yards. Devin Singletary did have 2 touchdowns. Isaiah Hodges led the team in receiving with 5 catches, 57 yards. And this game, it's formulatic. This has been the case for the Giants season all year. They play tough. They're not really getting blown out. A lot of these games are close, but they can't find ways to win. And I think that's gonna be the next step for them. They have a young team. Mike and I have talked about it several times that they have a bright future, but they got to find a way to win these games, and they just haven't been able to do it. For the Packers, they get the win, but I keep saying it, they do not look like Super Bowl contenders to me. I do not know what everybody else is seeing, but I'm not seeing a team that's going to the Super Bowl this year. but they got the win. So congratulations to them. All right, so now we'll go to the 1 o'clock, well, the 4 o'clock window. We have the LA Rams that beat the Seattle Seahawks 21-19. Huge win for LA. Tough loss for Seattle. They lost the game. Their kicker Josh Myers missed what would have been a game-winning field goal at the end. But the story of this game was turnovers. Sam Darnold 29 to 44 for 279 yards, no touchdowns, 4 picks. Kenneth Walker the third led the team in rushing with 16 carries, 67 yards and a touchdown. Jackson Smith and Njigba led the team in receiving with 9 catches, 105 yards. Excuse me. As for the Rams, Matthew Stafford, he had 15 to 28 passes, 130 yards, not great. He did have 2 touchdowns, no picks. Uh, Kyron Williams, 12 carries, 91 yards, and a touchdown, lead the team in rushing. And Puka Nakua led the team receiving with 7 catches for 75 yards. And yeah, the Rams defense played well. But to me, this game's all about Seattle. Rams improved to 8-2. Seattle drops to 7-3. But what I was gonna say about Seattle is they have, to me, they're a Super Bowl contender. They got a Super Bowl defense, Super Bowl running game, Super Bowl receiving core. The only question is Sam Darnold. That's the only question because he is capable of having games like he had today. I mean, he single handedly lost his game for them with all the interceptions. I know people gonna blame the kicker, but if he doesn't turn the ball over, Seattle probably wins this game, probably in a blowout. And that's gonna be the question for Seattle moving forward. Is that their quarterback may be the reason why they don't reach their full potential this year. We'll keep it in the NFC West. We have the 49ers at the Arizona Cardinals. San Francisco wins this game going away 41-22. They improved to 7-4. Arizona drops to 3-7. Excuse me. Brock Purdy made his return from that turf toe. He cleared 19-26 passes, 200 yards, 3 touchdowns, no picks. Christian McCaffrey led the team in rushing with 13 carries, 81 yards, and 2 touchdowns. George Kittle led the team receiving with 6 catches, 67 yards, 2 touchdowns. For Arizona, Jacoby Brissett completed 47 to 57 passes, which is ridiculous. 452 yards, 2 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. He threw the ball 57 times. I'm surprised he didn't throw more interceptions. And the fact that he completed 47 of those 57 passes was remarkable. But if you're throwing the ball that many times, you're gonna lose 9 times out of 10. Bam Knight led the team in rushing with 5 carries, 24 yards, and a touchdown. And Michael Wilson led the team in receiving with 15 catches, 185 yards. Not really much to say about this game. The Niners dominated. Brock Purdy looked good. Christian McCaffrey looked good. The Niners are getting healthy offensively at the right time. Defensively, they still have a lot of injuries, and that could hurt them moving forward. I do think the Niners will be a playoff team, but I don't see them getting far because of the injuries. A huge win for them. What a way to bounce back after that tough loss last week to LA. They get the win in division. They put 4-1 in the division. And for the Cardinals, you talk about being one dimensional. Um, yeah, they were one dimensional. They throw the ball 57 times, only ran the ball 14 times. That's not really a mark for success. And then we go to the AFC North. We have the Baltimore Ravens at the Cleveland Browns. We finally saw Shador Sanders. It was Shador time, but Lamar Jackson completed 14 25 passes for 193 yards, no touchdowns. He did throw 2 picks as he was god awful today. Derrick Henry led the team in rushing with 18 carries, 103 yards, and a touchdown. Zay Flowers led the team in receiving with 3 catches, 78 yards. For Cleveland, Dylan Gabriel completed 7 to 10 passes, 68 yards, no touchdowns, no picks. Shador Sanders came in the game, completed 4 of 16 passes for 47 yards, no touchdowns, 1 interception, and you kind of saw why he hasn't played yet because he does not look like he's ready. Dylan Gabriel at this point in their careers, Dylan Gabriel looks like to be the better quarterback. Even though I have said from day one, I do believe Cleveland needs to play both quarterbacks to see what they have and figure out, is one of these two going to be their franchise quarterback, or do they need to draft one next year? And then they also need to figure out what they're going to do with Deshaun Watson. There are reports that Deshaun Watson could come back later on this season. Even though the Browns are not going anywhere, they're 2-8. But I would still play Deshaun anyway just to see what you have in him, and maybe boost up his trade value at some point. Quinshaw Judikins led the team in rushing with 17 carries, 59 yards, and then Cedric Tillman led the team in receiving with 3 catches, 2 yards. Baltimore did not play well at all in this game, but they got the win. It's an ugly win, but they got the win. They've now won 4 in a row. They now improved to 5-5, and they're now just one game behind Pittsburgh in that division. But other than that, you saw the reason why Shador Sanders has not been playing because he's just not ready for the NFL. He's not the better of the two quarterbacks between him and Dylan Gabriel. And then last but not least, we have the Denver Broncos beating the Kansas City Chiefs 22-19. They won this game on the last second field goal, last second Will Lutz field goal. Denver proves the 9-2, best record in the NFL. Kansas City drops to 5-5 as they're on the outside looking in as far as the playoffs go. Patrick Mahomes completed 29 to 45 passes for 276 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. Kareem Hunt was their leading rusher with 13 carries, 59 yards, and a touchdown. Travis Kelsey was the leading receiver with 9 catches, 91 yards, and a touchdown. On Denver side, Bo Nix completed 24-37 passes for 295 yards, no touchdowns, no picks. RJ Harvey was their leading rusher with 11 carries for 30 yards. And Troy Franklin was their leading receiver with 4 catches for 84 yards. Denver's defense harassed Patrick Mahomes this whole entire game. They got after him. They did sack him 3 times. Denver's defense is legit. Offensively, they just make enough plays to win games. And right now, if the season was to end right now, the road to the Super Bowl will go through Denver in the AFC. And it looks like Denver's gonna run away with the AFC West. It looks like it's gonna be a three-headed horse between the Broncos, Chiefs, and Chargers. But the Chiefs lost today, so they're now 2 back. The Chiefs are now like 4 games back. So the winning the division for Kansas City is out of the question. So the Kansas City's won this division 10 years in a row. It looks like that's gonna snap this year. And the Chiefs at this point, they're just fighting for a wild card spot. But Denver took control of the AFC West in this game. And it looks like Mike's prediction of Denver winning the AFC West might come true. My prediction of the Chargers might fall short. So as we are in the stretch run of the NFL season, real quickly, let's go over the NFL playoff standings right now on what's today? On November 16th. So in the AFC, you have Denver will be the number 1 seed, New England will be the number 2 seed, Indianapolis will be the 3 seed, Pittsburgh will be the 4 seed, and then your wild card teams at the moment will be Buffalo, LA, and Jacksonville. And then over on the NFC side, Philadelphia will be the number 1 seed, LA will be the number 2 seed, Chicago will be the 3 seed, Tampa will be the 4 seed, and then your wild card teams as it stands right now um, will be the Packers, excuse me, will be the Seahawks, Packers, and Lions, with the Niners on the outside looking in, with the Niners and the Panthers on the outside looking in. So those are your NFL playoff standings as we speak. I went a little longer than I expected, going almost 35 minutes here, but that breaks down week 11 of the 2025 season. Once again, You can follow us on X. Just click on our handles right there on the bottom of the screen. At Expected Ant for myself. At Mob Squad 508 for Mike. Also, to scan the QR code. You get 10% off on Doobie Energy. And yeah, we'll be pumping out some more content for you later on this week. This week, too, we'll hopefully get back on giving you our predictions for week 12, as we're now just 5 more weeks left in the regular season. Playoff race is heating up. This is the perfect time of the year for the NFL football. But everybody have a great day, great rest of your weekend. Good night, and see you next time. Salute. Peace.